We had new champions, we had returning legends, and we had a bunch of old-looking people in the front row. It's time for your Evolution 2 Fallout. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. Is women's wrestling evolving, or is it going backwards? For me, I would certainly go with the latter, but I tell you what, WWE, they've been getting a lot of abuse lately. They've been getting a lot of criticism. However, one show that's not really getting criticism is Evolution 2, and I've got to be honest, from what I've seen of it, it certainly did seem a lot better than the two previous shows WWE offered, Saturday Night Main Event and, of course, Great American Bash. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I cared more about Evolution because Saturday Night Main Event had Goldberg's retirement. So, absolutely, I was more invested in that. But if you take away if you take away the bias that we've got and the interest that we've got in Bill Goldberg and the fact that he is a legend, if you take that away, objectively, Evolution 2 did seem to be a better show than both Saturday Night Main Event and Great American Bash, and probably by a considerable margin as well. So, yeah, Evolution 2, will we see a third Evolution? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. I'm surprised, actually. I think we probably will see it. Some people are saying it should be an annual thing. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, the whole point of Evolution was to have a women's premium live event for the first time and all women's. And to me, that should have been a one-off thing. Just like the Andre the Giant Battle Royal should have been a one-off thing. Like the Owen Hart tournament should have been a one-off thing. I just don't think there's need for an all-women's premium live event. And if they want to do it, then that's fine. But can we get it without the whole, oh, we're breaking barriers and we've been held back? It's like, you've already broke down those barriers. To me, the video package is extremely lame. Oh, when we grow up, we want to be this. We were told we couldn't be, but we've now proven we can be anything. It's like, hold on. Women in WWE have been getting pushed. This women's Evolution has been getting pushed for a decade now. Why are they pretending that Evolution 2 is still about equality? And they've already got it. They've already had it.
See, that's all they've got. All the generic story for all these women is the victim. We've been held back by previous
You're right.
errors.
Here, see, could you imagine? Like, the matches on this show were good. I think they were decent. But see if this premium live event actually had a build and they actually had interesting storylines and it wasn't just like randomly thrown out of nowhere with the whole backstory being, oh, we've been held back and now this is our time to shine. Maybe we could be sitting here talking about how this is one of the best premium live events that we've seen in a long time. But there was no real build. Like, it pretty much just was, here, we're having Evolution 2, we're having an all-women's show because back in the day, we haven't had equal opportunity, and that was it.
But that's all. But yeah.
Look at all the championship matches.
No, but that's the
thing.
I
pick you, you pick me. We all pick each other because we weren't picked by the men back in the day.
7 years since the last Evolution, so have they not went forward since then? In terms of equality and getting opportunities and all that shit.
Honestly, in terms of the quality and delivering, I think you could argue they went backwards.
Yeah, I would agree. I think McMahon definitely, in those years, gave them more, made them feel more important compared to the men.
But then again, the product in general went backwards, so it's hard to say.
No, it has, but let's say we don't get another one, right, until like 2030.
No, but let's say...
but the early 2030s, are we still going to be pretending that it's being held back?
Yeah, oh, look, video packages growing up, we were told we couldn't do it. It's like, nah, you had that in Evolution 1. See if they want to have Evolution every year, and it's like a premium live event, an annual thing, that wouldn't bother me, but you can't just do the exact... You can't run with the fucking same shit. It's a bit similar to, like, ECW One Night Stand. It's like... I mean, I think the second one worked, but to me, the second one worked because it was like ECW versus WWE. It's like, you can't just keep having a one night... As great as 2005 was... You can't keep bringing that back every year and keep doing it and going, look, it's a one-night stand. It's like, well, you've already had your one-night stand. You do need to evolve. And Evolution simply cannot keep being, oh, look, we never had the opportunity. We weren't given equal treatment. Like, that's done, that's gone. You've already pushed that. That boat sailed.
But like I said, that is the template for every person on the roster that's a woman and doesn't have half a storyline going for them. They essentially just go back to default factory settings. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. Because, promo package, you've got fuck all going for you. You can't cut a promo and you've got no character. Well, say you were oppressed, brother. I mean, that's it. See, 2015, that's when you started bringing in more women. It was beginning to get more 50-50. Newsflash, 2015's fucking 10 years ago, folks. Like, at what point does the line get crossed and we don't talk about it anymore?
No, but people will bash Tony Khan. Mercedes Moné, Tony Storm had a much better build than anything on this show.
Yeah. No, of course. Everything was...
Honestly, I think people need to start giving Tony Khan some credit. I do think the ending to the Death Riders as well was good, with the return of Darby Allin and Bryan Danielson. And I think that Tony... People rip the piss out of him, say he doesn't know what he's doing. I think they need to give him a wee bit of respect.
I mean, most of the time he doesn't know what he's doing. Let's get that clear. But when he gets something right, we have to say he gets it right. And I thought Triple H here, I'll give Triple H a bit of credit. Not one fucking person seen Naomi cashing in on that match. I didn't. It looked like it was destined to be after Jade wins at SummerSlam. But he changed it up, and you know what? He fucking had to. It was far too predictable the other way about. So fair play to him. There you go. Well done, Big Nose.
But it still sucks.
It sucks, but unpredictability goes a long way in my eyes, man. Good wrestling is unpredictable.
Aye, well, there you go. Naomi's your champion. Congratulations for her. Are we getting an Evolution 3, though? That's the big question. Mike Johnson of PWInsider.com, he seems to think we're getting one.
Alright, don't you sound so fucking angry about it?
Well, I am. You off? Yeah, I don't like Mike Johnson.
You don't want a third one?
I'm not a fan. I don't like Mike Johnson. Doesn't do it for me.
Not quite Dwayne Johnson.
Nah, he doesn't cut the mustard. He said the following, quote, "The feeling among those we spoke to is they'd have to do another Evolution show after the excellent quality of the show last night. But there's no set timetable as to if or when that happens. And those we spoke to made it clear nothing has been decided. Just that in their opinion, it's logical that there would be another execution of last night's show." End of quote. So Mike Johnson seems to think that we're going to get one. It's just a matter of when. But of course, we don't know when that will be. Triple H also, during the post-show press conference, said something similar. He said, quote, "I don't want to say it's yearly. It's not yearly. I think we see what that demand is for it. Because as the demand for the women grows across the board every day, it becomes less about having their own show and more about the equality. It's all there. They don't have to have their own show to be in the spotlight. But if it is, it works. We'll definitely go down that road again. It's a we shall see." End of quote. So Triple H coming out saying, here, the women don't need their own show to prove anything. They don't need their own show to be held in the same standard or the same light as men. He's claiming now they can do it basically on their own, and going forward, it's more about equality. It's more about them being showcased the same as men on the other shows rather than needing their own show. And to me, that's just what's wrong with wrestling. I just don't think that women should be 50-50 on cards. To me, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's not a key to success. And not everything needs to be 50-50. You can give women equality within wrestling without them needing to get 50-50 on the match cards. Let's say there's a workforce, right? Let's say, for example, Fire Brigade. If they're made up of 95% men and 5% women, that doesn't mean that the women within the Fire Brigade aren't being shown equality. It just means that simply more men are making up the Fire Brigade force because men tend to be better and more equipped for that job. Is there a place for women in wrestling? Yes. But I hate this logic and reasoning that unless women are getting on 50% of the premium live events, unless women are taking up 50% of SmackDown and Raw, then they're not getting equality. That, to me, that's garbage.
No, it's garbage, and you've just debunked it there. It's right. It's like it shouldn't matter about if there's 80% women, or 20%, or 5, or 50. They're getting the same opportunities regardless of the amount of percentage that actually works for the company, and I just don't understand it, man. And see another thing I don't understand. See Stephanie Faker, why is she winning a battle royal to become the number 1 contender for Clash in Paris? Do you not see the problem with that? That's 2 months away. So essentially, one of the hotter prospects and one of the apparently top stars of the women's division just has to essentially sit the next 2 months off and not work fucking SummerSlam, which is a mega 2-night event. Explain that. Unless it's WrestleMania and you win the Rumble, you shouldn't be taking a pay-per-view off in between, man.
The only thing I can think of is they plan on doing something big for SummerSlam, and it doesn't involve Stephanie Fakir. Maybe we're getting Naomi, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley triple threat or something. Maybe that's their plan.
So hold on. So Rhea Ripley versus Io versus a black woman. Where did I see that? Oh, WrestleMania. And Io Sky, Rhea Ripley. Get that fuck off my screen.
Well, maybe
was the match decent?
Maybe they're trying to replicate the WrestleMania triple threat. Just a thought. Otherwise, yeah, you're right. Like, why wouldn't they just have Stephanie Fakir challenge the winner of that Battle Royal, challenge the Raw champion, since Jade Cargill's going to challenge the SmackDown champion? Maybe they've got something else planned for SummerSlam.
Maybe, but I just think it's ridiculous that someone wins a number 1 contendership match that ain't the Rumble and they have to wait 2 months to actually get it.
Right, well, my problem, that's true, but let's just go back to the whole equality thing. I just hate this logic where if, let's say we've got an 8 match card, let's say SummerSlam, let's just pretend it's one night, and there's 9 matches on it. See if 7 of the matches are men, and 2 of the matches are women. I hate how that's looked at, and it's like, we don't have equality. You've got equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. That'd be like cruiserweight saying, we didn't have equality back in the day because we didn't get as many matches as like the bigger get. It's not about that. It's about what fucking draws more. Like, there's roles in wrestling, and not all roles are the same.
Well, that is it, though, and it's all about what matches are the best. I mean, I don't think there's ever going to be a scenario where we get a pay-per-view and there's 7 women matches compared to the 1 man's match, but at the end of the day, men's wrestling will always outdraw women's, and that's what we've got to look at here. I don't think I'm against having a women's pay-per-view, but making it yearly would be fucking tragic.
See, boxing events, UFC events, are they 50-50 in terms of men and women on the main card? Absolutely not.
But the women suffer for the same problem as the men. It's like, yeah, Trish Stratus had a match here. See, until we actually get wrestling where like there ain't guys and women that are like over the age of like 40, 35 from previous eras, it's like, is wrestling truly like achieved what it set out to be? That they need to create new stars, man. And because women's wrestling was never, there was never that serious amount, they've created bigger stars than what the men have done. Just based off the fact that men's wrestling used to be so much better in comparison, but now it's never felt closer because, in my opinion, they've just created a lack of men stars. Because if you look at back 2015, you've got the situation where men are always on top, right? And therefore, they're always going to be viewed as the main eventers. Women at 2015, women have never been viewed as main eventers. Let's just get that out there. And I know we can turn around and say now, well, they're not really now. The men are always... Women main eventing Raw in 2004 was seen as this fucking monumental thing. Now it's just... Honestly, it's like... It's just a bit genetic. It's mundane. It's the run of the mill. It might happen, it may not. The main event manias these days, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the nights of these SummerSlams, probably night 1, could be a women's main event. It's easier for women to be considered main eventers now because that's what's happened over the course of the last decade. They've just been promoted into that spot by equality. So this whole gimmick is that, we've been held back and we're still held back and, it's 2025 and we're breaking down barriers. The barriers have been broken down. They've never been more equal to the men in their puff, and barking that same grape is embarrassing. It's pathetic. No, see 10, 15 years ago, compare the state of women's wrestling to the men's. It's night and day. And therefore, in this day and age, it's easier to create women main eventers than it ever has been compared to the men.
How?
Because the women were 10 years ago, right, were nobodies compared to the men. Now...
Yeah, but now they're not. Now they're equal, so how's it easier to create women main eventers now, starting right now?
Because women... There's not an insane amount of women main eventers. There never has been.
Oh, I forgot there's a shitload of fucking men main eventers, isn't there?
No, because the men have... Men main eventers, man, dating back fucking decades. You could name, hundreds.
They're gone.
Women main eventers, right? You could only talk about like what Trish, Lita, women like that, China. There's not really much more you could really get into. Tori Wilson, Sable, Stacey Keibler, they're not main eventers. They were known for their fucking wrestling. Now it's like, because of the women, the 50-50 in terms of on the cards and the amount of main events that they do have, it's easier for them to become main eventers in my eyes in their own gender division than it is for the men. Every day of the week.
But what is main eventers for the past got to do with the current generation?
Because the lack of them. So therefore it's easier for them to be considered main eventers compared... Because there's... Honestly, how many women main eventers have you considered in their own...
But why is that relevant? Who was a main eventer 20 years ago?
I think you're missing the point here.
No, I think you're missing the point.
What's the point I'm missing?
You're basically saying that if a man and a woman come up from, like, let's say LFG, it's going to be easier for that woman to be a main eventer than the man?
Yes.
How? When in the landscape of wrestling...
Within their own division,
yeah, within the landscape of wrestling, it's pretty much 50-50 now, in terms of roster. So therefore, the man has got just the same amount of people in front of him as the woman does. So no, how's it easier?
If you look at the success rate between which gender is more likely to become a main eventer, I'm going with the women every day of the week. They pull the trigger on a Tiffany Stratton. What man has had the trigger pulled on him that's like young?
Yeah, but I don't think that's anything to do. I don't think that's got anything to do with the amount of people on the show. The men just don't seem to get opportunities, and they don't seem to like rotate and push people as much into the spot. The women tend to have more of a opportunity, and they'll tend to promote them, especially quicker for NXT. They bring women up for NXT quicker, and they give them opportunities. They don't do that with the men.
But they should.
But it's not necessarily because, oh, well, look, the roster's 90% men and it's 10% women, so it's easier if you're a woman. That's not the way it is. It's pretty damn close to 50-50.
But what they did with the women back in 2015, it was a clean slate because there was no one really there, right? Because they just brought a load of people through for NXT. What they need to do with the men is they need to release about 50 of them and see the young up-and-coming people and people that get faith in, the Braun Breakers of this world. That's who they need to push, the young talent. They need to wrestle. It needs a fucking clean slate, man. See 40-year-old people. I'm not going to get into the people who are old, right? And also, who was greeting about? Who did I see? Was it Melina? Was not Melina. Gail Kim was greeting about. Oh, why are you complaining about the age of them? But there was one of them called Kai. And when I was doing the recap earlier this morning, I thought it was Dakota Kai till I seen a picture of the person about 2 hours ago.
Probably somehow related to The Rock, and that's the only reason she got a front row ticket.
The name's Fatu. Probably, so it said someone, but we're ready to move on.
I'll let you finish your point.
I've already addressed my point. It's easier for a woman to become a main eventer than it is a man today. So therefore you could argue it.
Yeah, but it's not because of the roster. It's not because there's less of them, because it's pretty much 50-50. I'm trying to hammer that home and you're not seemingly understanding it. Oh, but there's less of them. It's irrelevant. Oh, in the history of wrestling, there's less women main eventers. That's irrelevant. It's 2025. We're not talking about who was a main eventer 30 years ago. We're talking about who's a main eventer now.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, right, listen to this. See guys like Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I am never, and I mean fucking never, I'm never going to ever consider them a main eventer, right? Compared to guys of the past. But see the women of today, the Becky Lynch, the Charlotte Flairs, the Rhea Ripleys, Tiffany Strattons, they're going to feel like more main eventers in this era to people in the past, like Trish and Lita, than a Sami Zayn and a Kevin Owens are ever going to feel to a Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they've got that in their favour.
Again, I don't know why you keep going back to the past and bring up main. That's irrelevant. We're talking in 2025. doesn't matter a fuck.
It's relevant because we're talking about they haven't broke down barriers. They have broke down barriers. Because they're creating more main eventers in their division. See, looking back like 2013, 14, none of the women could be ever considered main eventers.
Right, well, I disagree because the rosters are pretty much 50-50. It's almost made up now of 50% men, 50% women. They pretty much get 50% each screen time on Raw and SmackDown. So therefore, if you're a woman starting in 2025, you've got just as many people ahead of you as you do if you're a man starting in 2025. And we've seen the same women pretty much dominate the main event scenes for years now, just like we do the men. So it hasn't really changed much. The only thing I will say is, at least if you come up for NXT as a female, you seem more likely to get an opportunity, like Roxanne, or Julia, or Stephanie Fakir, or Lyra Valkyria, whereas you're Carmelo Hayes, you seem to get no chance at all, but what does it matter? It's been the same women main eventing for years now. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Becky, Charlotte, Bayley, that seems to be the main five. Always seem to be main event. Oh, but the IC... Yeah, listen, that's just a new little fresh title that's given them Grand Slam title statistics. That's it. That's the only reason they're competing for that. Let's just get that straight.
Well, we can talk about numbers in here. Can't dispute the 50-50 numbers, but reality is...
No, but
the
Becky...
people at the top of the numbers on the men's side are better than the people at the top.
Becky Lynch isn't getting the IC title because she wants to drop down a level and I want to elevate other women into the main event. No, she's doing that so she can be a Grand Slam champion and because she thinks that belt means more now because it's a new belt. Let's not pretend that she's dropped a level below here. She's still Becky Hogan.
Here, say what you want, right? But see Julia and Stephanie Fakir, is there more chance of them becoming main eventers than the other people have been brought in, like the Ethan Pages and the Ricky fucking Starks of this world? Of course there is.
Well, hold on here. I think you're comparing the two cream of the crops that came in.
All right. Well, let's look at the cream of the crops that have been called up for NXT for the men's side. Who? What? Braun Breaker. There's fucking far more chance, in my opinion, that Fakir becomes a main eventer than him. Because she's already been pushed. Braun Breaker's been fucking stuck in the mud. And you can't even dispute that. Honestly, look at LA Knight.
So why is that though?
No, LA Knight.
Why? But explain why that is. Actually explain why that. Don't say, oh, but Braun Breaker can't become a main eventer because Hogan was running wild in the 80s. I want to know why Braun Breaker can't be a main eventer.
The top of the men's division right now is better than the top of the women's division.
It's fucking pish. And you know it. Roman Reigns never there. John Cena gone at the end of the year. CM Punk shows up whenever he wants. Where's your main eventers? Oh, Kevin, fight Kevin, fight. Fuck off.
Cena, Punk, Orton, Reigns, they feel far more relevant than the Four Horsewomen. I rest my fucking case.
Well, they're never there. So how's that preventing Braun Breaker from becoming a main event guy?
We always talk about how Charlotte takes months off, Becky takes months off. Fucking the other Sasha Banks. She's
the four what?
The four. Sasha Banks not even there, and Bayley, well, she's just purple-haired freak show, kill 7,000 men for a castle bastard. So, nah, come on, man, it's easy to become a women's main eventer. I'm not.
But why? That's all I'm asking.
Look at the track record, man. Io Sky called up winning belts. Tiffany Stratton called up winning belts.
But why? That's all I'm asking.
Because it's just easier based on the fact that the top of the women's division ain't as clear as the top of the men's is from the rest of the men's. The women's division overall, in my opinion, is more equal than the men's ever will be. Just due to the fact that they try and force all the women down our throats with the men. I think there's a clear difference in level between them all. I think the women's like fluctuates between them.
Why is that though? I'm actually asking, like, why is that the case?
I don't know why that is. You could be right. Could it just be a case of the...
No, but logically speaking, it shouldn't be because it should be 50-50 because there's just as many women as there is men.
I'll answer this, right? Could it be a case where the guys are at the top now, they started their way from the bottom and made their way to the top? Well, with the women, like the Charlottes, the Becky Lynches, the Sasha Banks, the Baileys, because there's no like mid-card titles and there's nothing really for them to do in the mid-card, they just went straight from debuting to fucking world titles. And therefore they're kind of having to work their way down for the shite now that's been introduced with tag titles and that.
So you think because the main event guys
The women
had a bigger foundation when they were building their success. They've like solidified their place at the top more.
I'm playing devil's advocate here. That's not this is factual. When the women get called up, the women 10 years ago when they get called up,
so
they're going straight to the women's world titles.
So you're saying like the men, for example, it's like they've started off working at McDonald's as like the toilet cleaner, and then started flipping the burgers, and then became like a supervisor, and then became like a store manager, and then became the owner, whereas the women just got chucked in as the owner.
No, but
is that the way you're trying to describe it?
Yes, but before we introduced mid-card women titles, right, which is obviously like the end of last year. If a woman gets called up for NXT, it's sooner or later you're going to get the world title shot in some capacity, because it's just by default. But for the men, there's always been the US and Intercontinental Championship. It would see under this new era. When the fuck would you go? When would a guy for NXT go straight for the one or two of the world titles over the mid card belts? But in the past with the women, there've been no mid card belts, and therefore you get more chance of going for the world title.
Well, the IC title and the US title create more women's main eventers.
They'll create less, I believe. I actually think, even though it's more chance.
But using it, is that not like, are you not using similar logic to say that the men's division created more because they had those belts to compete for? But you think it's going to have the opposite effect on the women? Basically, what you were saying with the men. The men had to work their way up, build their way up. But with the women, you say it's going to have the opposite effect.
But I'm saying that's why it's easier for women, because they're going in straight at the main event scene. Men are going in lower down, and only the cream of the crop get to the top of the title.
But then you're saying the cream of the crop stay at the top longer.
Yeah, because they get that chance to get to the top. Cena, Orton, Brock, guys that came in, started the way at the bottom, but then got to the top. With the women, they're just going straight to the top when they come in.
So now you're saying you're more likely to get a female Cena because there's mid-card belts?
Not necessarily. That's not really what I'm going for.
So the mid-card belts help the men become true main eventers, but they won't help...
No, I'm talking... I'm sick. See, for the fear, man, this isn't exactly great fucking content, because we're just going round in circles here. Point is, with the women, without the mid-card belts for so many years there, if you're getting called up for NXT or brought in for another company, sooner or later you're going for the world title. With the men, there's always been the other belts. Fuck, the women didn't even have tag titles that long ago.
Yeah, but you were kind of suggesting... But were you not...
But what I've just explained, yes or no, is it not easier by that logic, by default, just due to the lack of other belts, is it not easier for a woman to be in the main event scene than a man? It is. You can't even fucking dispute it.
I mean, you could argue there's less titles to compete for, so therefore maybe it's a bit more difficult.
Yeah, could argue that, but naturally there's always been more men than women. Now though, right, now in 2025 as we stand, things are getting more even, in terms of 50-50, as you pointed out. But I'll still stand by it that it's easier for a woman to become a main eventer than a man. Because I look at the NXT call-ups over the last couple of years, who's became a main eventer? No one dare say Solo Sikoa. Honestly, I think in this day and age, even if you become a world champion, you're no a main eventer. So therefore, I think to qualify as a main eventer, you have to have a world title. I mean, LA Knight's not a main eventer, Solo Sikoa's not a main eventer. You look at the women. I'm not saying Tiffany Stratton's a fucking bona fide main eventer, Hollywood Hulk Hogan shit, but she feels more of a main eventer within her division than fucking LA Knight and Solo Sikoa even dream about right now.
What about Gunther?
Well, Gunther's a decent example, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't consider Gunther a main eventer all time, but right now in this era he is.
We're not talking about all time, we're talking about 2025.
Yeah, but I'm just making sure before anyone goes, are you saying Gunther's a big main eventer? No, he's a big nippled freak show bastard, but right now, can't dispute it. He's a two-time world champion this year. Mania matches, big pay-per-view title matches. Guy's a main eventer. He's one of the few people that's been called up for NXT that's made it. Honestly, look at the people. No, who's been called up for NXT in the 2020s that's become a world champion? Oh, but Roman Reigns held the belt for 4 years. Fuck that. Gunther must be the only guy.
Well, that would have a negative effect.
It would, but Gunther must be the only guy.
And then when Cody wins the belt and barely defends it for a year, that would have a negative effect as well.
No, but Gunther must be the only guy.
How many times do you want to repeat that?
Because you kept spewing shite over it.
Alright guys, there you go. Gunther's the only guy. Congratulations. The nipples.
No, I mean, if I put a gun to your head, are you going to seriously think that it's easier for a man to become a main eventer today than a woman? You can say it's close, but you've got to lean on the feminine side.
No, all I'm saying is it shouldn't be more difficult. It should roughly be the same.
Yeah, no, I understand that logic.
Because both men and women pretty much make up 50% of the roster.
The more equal it gets, theoretically, the harder it should be for a woman to become a main eventer.
And now they've both got mid-card titles, so therefore it should be pretty similar.
Yeah, put it this way, right? This isn't me just burying the 4 horsewomen, but I'll bury them anyway. I think if you just pushed any 4 women back in 2015-16 as well as you did those 4, they would probably be at similar status. Now, obviously, you've got to have a bit of talent, do you? But do you not agree? It's kind of like they were the first of their kind. They get the main event matches, the Hell in a Cells, the no DQs, the I Quit matches. Oh, you're main eventing Raw consistently rather than just once in 2004 because Triple H must have had a night off or something. You know what I mean? Any 4, in my opinion, could have filled those spots. Could they have done it as well? Potentially not. But we'll see where it goes in the future. Anyway, let's move on.
Some people say the same thing about the Shield. Some people say the same thing about Nexus. Alright, Nexus didn't really go on to have that everlasting success, but if 3 guys got pushed as heavily and as successfully as Reigns, Ambrose and Rollins, would they not all have been top stars and would they not all have been main event guys?
No, I understand your point. I do. Gotta look at guys like Angle and Jericho, right? If there was no mid-card belts in 99-2000, are they ever getting the opportunity to prove it that they're going to go and take on the likes of Austin and Rock? I mean, but then it opens a can of worms, man. You go for every fucking single year. Point is, I'll stand by it. It's easier for a woman than a man. Boom.
Yeah, but can you see how you're saying that Angle and Jericho wouldn't have had the opportunity because there's no mid-card belts? And women haven't had mid-card belts, but you're still saying it's easier for them to become main eventers? And that is contradictory.
No, it does sound contradictory, I'll accept that, but like we say, back in 2015, there's almost a clean slate, and it's like whoever rose to the top was going to become main eventers.
So you just thought there was a bunch
for men.
From 2015, you're basically saying there was like a bunch of main event spots that were available, ready to be filled. By default, because it was like first come, first serve.
Yes. Right. That's what it was, man. Team PCMB, Team Bad, Team Pish.
That's fair, right? Becky Lynch, Becky Hogan, she spoke about winning the title. Doesn't want to be called Becky Hogan. She said, quote, "What did you expect? What did you expect? Evolution. I am the definition of evolution. When I came up here 10 years ago, ain't nobody thought that I was going to be the defining moment in this business, and I am. I am the Intercontinental Champion. I am the greatest to ever do it. It's not just me saying it, other people saying it. You call me Becky Hogan. Becky Hogan. I ain't Becky Hogan. I'm Becky freaking Lynch, and I'm going to keep doing this until there is somebody better than me. But spoiler, there ain't gonna be." End of quote. I just think it's mental how Becky Lynch is coming out and trying to distance herself from Becky Hogan as if that's a bad thing. She should be honoured that there's anybody even calling her Becky Hogan.
You just know.
But she's viewing that as like a bad thing.
You just know, though, if this wasn't a WWE like presser here, she would have been bloody going through Hogan. But you're right. Getting compared to Hogan's is fucking good as it's ever going to get for all of this roster. Honestly, you have to be considered near Hogan's level for it not to be a compliment. Like, I see if Stone Cold Steve Austin says it, no, because I think it's a bit demeaning to Austin and guys like Austin. I mean, there's not many guys like Austin, but if you're similar level to someone, you don't really want to be considered, Austin Hogan, do you?
See if Becky was getting called Becky Austin, you think she'd take it as bad?
No, I don't think she would, but that's where it's cringe though. It's like, see if they were calling her like Becky Blaze or something, she'd be like, "Oh, that's great. I'm like the Medusa of the 90s." But see, because it's...
I disagree. I think she'd be like, "I'm better than her."
Yeah, but she wouldn't be going in on it like she does on Hogan. Hogan's the lowest hanging fruit, man. His oranges are scraping along the fucking orchard ground.
Like McMahon's grapefruits. Right, Raquel Rodriguez has issued a response for criticism from WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash. He's been critical of her work, saying that she works too small, doesn't work like a big woman. And this is what she had to say.
He acts like a wee man, he's a fucking big man.
This is what she had to say for Nash. She said, quote, If that's coming from Kevin Nash, I fully take that to heart. If he thinks I'm working too small, then Mr. Nash, sir, with all due respect, I'll start working bigger. I hope you'll tune in more and watch Raquel Rodriguez grow and get bigger every single time. If anyone knows how to be a cool, big, strong wrestler, it's Kevin Nash. He set the bar for us. It's important to be respectful and recognise that someone is watching your craft, taking time out of their day to criticise you. That's a compliment. Kevin Nash has better things to do than watch a Raquel Rodriguez match and tell her she's working too small. For him to go out of his way to do that, I fully respect that and take the criticism to heart. It's something I'm working on at the moment. I've stepped out of my shell a little bit more. I'm definitely on the rise. This attitude is new and fresh, but she's feeling very confident these days. End of quote. You know what? Very, very refreshing. Now, we've bashed Kevin Nash a little bit, right? But I think it's very refreshing to see a current day wrestler actually take criticism on board and be respectful and almost appreciate that they've got a legend, a Hall of Famer, that is actually taking the time to give them feedback on their matches. How many women or men, for that, should I say, because let's just be honest, in this current roster, have we seen take issue with legends calling out their work?
Totally. Only thing I would say here is I'll play devil's advocate. Let's say Kevin Nash's wee outburst recently was on the right side of things and no the left. Would she respond it like this? I'm not convinced. They know what side their bread's buttered on. They know what wrestling fans of today fucking love. See,
so you think she's yes, taking criticism for Kevin Nash because
he's a left libtard? I think if he came out wearing the MAGA hat, man, and bragging about ice and all that shit, I think she would have shot him down here. But who the fuck do you think you are, kind of thing? No, I do. I genuinely do. Here, maybe I'll give her the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt because it's very refreshing. We never really get this. Normally, anytime this happens, the current wrestler will just come out and say, you never really done anything, or where are you now? You're no longer relevant, this and that. And I think it's actually cool to see Raquel Rodriguez treat Nash with a lot of respect.
Well, I think it is cool because Kevin Nash certainly deserves his flowers. But I do believe if it was flipped, his politics over the last month or so, she would. People are smart, man. She'll recognise that Kevin Nash has obviously gained a lot of a few followers on Twitter and all that stuff. He's garnered a lot of attention. I'd strongly believe though if it was flipped, she would be. I don't know necessarily if she'd be ranting on him, but it'd almost be like a blank job, rubber ear, so to speak.
So if Hogan was giving her this criticism...
Oh, fuck, guy. Oh, fuck you. Don't you worry your cotton socks with that, big man. Hulk Hogan be getting fucking blasted left, right and centre.
Don't work for me, brother. Right, Naomi won her title and did a post-show press conference. Not really going to get into it. Just garbage. She half does a kayfabe, but then half, does reality, breaks down. Oh, it's very cool, it's very emotional, but none of them are getting title shots. Just, they need to go one way or the other. See these press conferences, either make them completely kayfabe, or have them just be fucking breaking kayfabe. It's one or the other. I don't think you can go 50-50.
Yeah, it doesn't work, man, because you've seen them break kayfabe, then Cena comes on, he's in kayfabe. It's like, what the you're right, just do one or the other. And what I would say is, see if you're just going to go all out and break it, then I don't think it should be televised. I think it should just be questions for the press, because not every press conference in the fucking world's televised. Honestly, man, it's a bad fucking look. How can you finish a thing, right, that's supposed to be portrayed as real, and then the thing that comes on after it just buries it?
Yeah.
I know some people would be like, oh, but what about Talking Bad and the Talking Dead and After Anarchy and all those shows? But that's fucking different, man. There's a clear difference. WWE cat people, it's in real life. It's supposed to be portrayed. It's actually supposed to be them playing the character.
Yeah, everyone knows movies and series are they're not
you live
real.
In that world.
You're living in the bubble, but with wrestling, it's supposed to be a legit, competitive fucking in-ring sport. So. Right, Trish Stratus talked about her future. She says, quote, I have that thought, is this the last time? It could be. The WWE Universe has been so wonderful to me and so supportive. I just feel so blessed to dip my toes into the current landscape. It's been 20 years. Is it 2005? Like, what the heck? It's never lost on me how lucky I am to know how we built Ivory, Jackie, the girls you saw in the audience, Lita, of course, Mickey. We built the foundation that they built a skyscraper on. Now that I get to come back and dip into that skyscraper, I feel blessed. I always have the worry. I have to make sure I can hang with these girls. I watch the girls and I'm like, I want to knock down the preconceived notions about maybe there is no expiration date until you say it is. It's not over until you say it's over. It's my 25th year. Let's make it a good one. End of quote. So,
I'm going to call bullshit.
Bit of a mixed bag here. 1 minute sounds like she could be retiring. Next minute she's like, oh, it's my 25th year and I'm just getting started.
Let me drop a skyscraper, right? Like the Twin Towers here. So she talks about, oh, we did the foundations. They built the skyscraper. I'll tell you who built the skyscraper. It wasn't any single one of the women, right? It was the real life politics of the mid 2010s. The world was coming a bit woke, and it's like, oh, equality. McMahon's went, oh, this is a real opportunity here to change things up here. So I'm going to actually push the women's movement, all that stuff. I'm sure Stephanie had her say in it. And like I pointed out earlier, any 4 women could have been forced down our throats like the 4 horsewomen, and it still would have worked to a degree. So see this. Trish is also selling herself short here. Oh, see me, Lita, Chyna, and even though I didn't mention them, and other people that were actually fucking over and a lot better than these fucking jobbers. We just put the cement down. They actually built the towers. That's selling yourself extremely short, man. See, she's almost like saying, oh, yeah, it's lucky that for all these fans that they came like 10 years after us, or else you wouldn't have this skyscraper. No, Trish, Lita, etc., Chyna are just extremely unlucky that maybe they didn't get 10 years later. I just don't understand this, man. Why can't Trish come out and say, aye, all these people of today are lucky that they're actually getting like 50-50 treatment because they don't fucking deserve it. People in the past like me and Lita were fucking well better than them. But no, they're never going to come out and say that shit, aren't they? Not.
No, they're not. And, yeah.
Do you not agree, though? It's like, see this whole, oh, it's all these women that built the skyscraper. No, it's the real-life fucking politics.
And here, it's just not in wrestling. See, if you look at TV series, that you see the same thing. See in the mid-2010s, see how much things changed in TV and in the world in general, where it's like, even like in series and shows, like the women just all of a sudden started becoming a lot more powerful and stronger, and they were seen as on a level playing field, if not even better than the. Case in point, The Walking Dead. If you look at that show, you will see like during the mid 2010s how women in that show just completely changed, and they went from being like the so-called weaker sex to, the strongest characters in the show.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen organically, it just like happened overnight.
Yeah,
and the same thing happened with wrestling.
They need to stop pretending that it was the women wrestlers that did it. It was just a thing that happened in pop culture.
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't the 4 horsewomen that did it. See, WWE, they would even if they had the worst roster in women's history at that point in time, they would have plucked their 4 best out of the shit and pushed them like they did the 4 horsewomen.
Yo, I loved the Brood, right, and I loved the Ministry, right, but let's not pretend that was a WWE thing in the late 90s. No, late 90s, that was very popular. All that gothic shit. Vampire shit. It wasn't like, McMahon, Russo deserve a lot of credit, right, for getting them over. Undertaker, fantastic. The Brood, it really helped Edge and Christian, but they did it because of pop culture. A lot of things in wrestling is taking advantage of what's popular, and they need to do it more.
Yes, right. Some people aren't popular though with Gail Kim. She has criticised people for calling out the looks of legends at the Evolution Premium Live event. So, Gail Kim called out these people criticising aging people in the crowd. She said, quote, "I'm noticing a lot of comments regarding the legends that were on Evolution last night. It seems like a huge amount of comments are in regards to their aging and looks. That's where our dysmorphia comes from, which I still go through today. Think before you comment. Pre-pay-per-view, people were just excited about who they could possibly go and see and show up. Then, when they see them, they critique on their looks. Please don't do this. We are all human beings. Remember and celebrate what they gave to the business. End of quote. This is coming across as extremely fucking SJW for Gail Kim. It's like, it's not a wrestling thing.
It's a world thing.
If you haven't seen someone in a long time and then you see them and you think they've aged considerably, then of course you're going to be like, holy shit, that person's aged.
How many times have we sat here on like Raw reunions, like holy fuck, he looks like...
Yeah, it's not just a woman thing. It's
we watched Dexter Resurrection the other day, folks. Paramount Plus. A lot of returning characters. Hell, everyone pretty much returning. Everyone looks older. Everyone looks fucked compared to what they did back in like early days of that show. It's a natural fucking thing. It's just because women are a bit vain about their fucking looks. I mean, men don't really give two shits, to be honest.
Look at Cena.
Look at Goldberg, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I mean, Goldberg's getting the piss ripped out of him. Cena, I mean, he gets the piss ripped out of him all the time. Roman Reigns, I think, is looking...
Look at Hogan's arms have deflated.
I think Roman Reigns, is over the past, like, maybe 18 months, 2 years, has looked considerably older. It seems to... Have you noticed since McMahon's gone, he's not really dying as... He's got the grey coming through.
Aye. No,
which I think's a really bad look. A lot of these people are just looking older, so I mean, it is what it is.
One of the women, that Kai person, right? She was like women's champion in like the early to mid 90s, and I don't think she's been on WWE TV since then. Of course, she's gonna look old. I haven't seen her 30 odd years. If you don't age in 30 years, you're probably a vampire.
Yeah, I don't really understand what Gail's Kim problem is. It's if you're showcased and you're in the entertainment business or whatever, if you're a celebrity, you're that's literally what you get we're not even criticised.
And also, see another thing. What you got to bear in mind here, you're comparing like 56-year-old women to women on the actual show who are like in their 20s and 30s.
Of course, they're going to look old.
You know, and it's the same when I know Gunther and Goldberg, it's only like 20 years between them, but he's going to look old compared to him.
I mean, if you just had a match with a couple like women that are in their like early 30s or late 20s, and then you cut to the crowd and you're seeing a woman in there that's 25 years older than her, fuck, you're going to be like, holy shit, like look at the difference. She looks way older than her.
But it's pathetic. I mean, how many times do we see them on commentary like making fun of Michael Cole being flabby and old and shit?
Yeah, anyway,
some people can take it, some people can't.
Pretty sure Gail Kim was on last week, got talking on Twitter about how she's got great genetics and still looks really young. So I don't know what she's worried about.
Can't have it both ways.
You know what I mean? you can't be like saying, "Oh, I look great, I look good for my age," but then not want people to admit that others maybe don't look great for their age. It's like
do you not admit they're all looking good?
It's like a double-edged sword.
Everyone have good genetics according to Gail Kim.
It's just fucking weird. If Gail Kim can point out that she has got good genetics and looks young for her age, then why can't people point out that here, maybe that female that looked good back in the days no longer looking that good? I don't get it. Anyway, guys, there you go. There's your fallout from Evolution. We'll catch you in the next one. Bit of a long-winded rant.
I'll tell you what.
It wasn't the best video. I'm extremely tired. I apologise.
Guys coming out milking the end. You just lost your fucking title. You know what I mean? After the world's shittest title reign, may I add?
Yeah, not good. Anyway, guys, till next time. Peace.